Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Reborn as Gohan in future timeline. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name in the description below. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 51. At the foot of the Flaming Mountain. Piccolo, who was completely at a disadvantage, used Solar Flare to temporarily blind Bojack's team, and rushed to the lookout. He was going to find the old Kami to merge with him. On the Hell Road, Chi-Chi and the Demon King moved forward slowly. They didn't know why they were suddenly resurrected. Now they only knew to move forward with the large group. While moving forward, Chi-Chi heard someone in the Gorit say that this was a passage to the mortal world, and she immediately became excited. I don't know how Gohan is doing now. Dad, let's walk faster. I want to go back and see Gohan. Well, I hope Gohan is okay. I say, Chi-Chi, don't force Gohan to study anymore. Chi-Chi looked sad, lowered her head and murmured, in the future? I don't know if there will be a future. Then she looked up at the Ox King. Dad, do you know what Gohan wished for on his 4th birthday? No, I don't know. Gohan's wish is to become a great scholar. Ox King is silent. Let's go. Meanwhile, there were still a few people in the Yama Palace who were jumping with anxiety. They were none other than Tien, Kyatsu, Yamcha, the fortune-teller Baba, and Krillin. They were transferred here to help maintain order in the Yama Palace, but were sealed in the Yama Palace by Janemba barrier. At this moment, they were unable to break through the seal of the barrier, and could only wait and watch, as anxious as ants on a hot pot. Krillin scratched his head. Damn it, what should I do? Goku's energy becoming lower and lower. Is there anyone who can help Goku? Vegeta is also in bad shape. His ki is as weak as a candle flame, which will be extinguished if blown. Yamcha gave a suggestion. Grandma Baba, can you go to the mortal world and pick up Gohan? Since he can defeat the androids, he can definitely help Goku. I can't go out now. It's over. It's all over. Goku put his right hand on his chest, panting, staring at Janemba, and couldn't think of any solution. Spirit bomb? No, this is hell. It's impossible to absorb spirit energy. And the charging time of this skill is too long. It would take a lot of energy to defeat Janemba. Both conditions don't allow him to use this move. At this moment, Janemba laughed again, ready to use the sword and end Goku's life. But the energy of the long sword in its hand should be exhausted, and it quickly decomposed into light particles and disappeared into the air. Janemba looked at his empty hand and didn't care. He continued to laugh, then stretched out his palm, opened his 5 fingers, and aimed at Goku. Suddenly, the palm of his hand glowed, and a huge energy ball rushed towards Goku. Looking at the energy ball coming, Goku covered his chest. At this moment, his physical strength was exhausted, and he had no breath left. He couldn't even move his body. His eyelids felt as heavy as 1,000 pounds, and he could hardly open his eyes. I didn't expect to die here today. Goku felt bitter. He had died once, and although he had retained his body, if he died again, his soul would be shattered and he would completely disappear from this world without leaving any trace. Is this really the end? Whoosh! The hot energy ball was already within reach. Goku stared blankly at the energy ball that was about to attack him, ready to die. At the critical moment, a figure appeared out of nowhere and blocked Goku's way. Goku was surprised. Who is coming? Bang! The man kicked the energy ball away. The energy ball exploded in the distance, erupting with earth-shaking waves. Janemba was stunned, and looked at Gohan, who suddenly appeared with some vigilance. The man turned his head and said, Dad, this time it's my turn to protect you. That determined and familiar face came into Goku's eyes. Dad? You are Gohan? After a pause, Goku's pupils refocused. At this time, Gohan is tall, much taller than him, with the furry tail on his butt shaking in the wind, and his ki was unspeakably powerful. In Goku's memory, Gohan's appearance had always remained at the age of 6 or 7, so he was stunned for a while and couldn't recognize him. Gohan squatted down and smiled. "It's me, Dad." "It's really you, Gohan, why are you here?" Goku struggled a little. Gohan said, "It's King Kai." "Dad, let's stop talking, let's leave here first." After saying that, Gohan picked up Goku. "Hey, this key is from Mom." Swoosh. Gohan and Goku disappeared in an instant. Seeing Gohan and Goku suddenly disappear, Janemba became furious. It swung out Ki Blast and bombarded the underworld crazily. The entire underworld gradually collapsed in the explosion, and the sky turned into the dark red of Doomsday again. On the other side, Gohan and Goku suddenly appeared in front of Chi-Chi and Ox King. Except for Gohan, everyone else was horrified. Gohan? And Goku? What's going on? Chi-Chi and Ox King asked in unison. And Goku said, "Aha? Chi-Chi and Ox King? Why are you here? By the way, Gohan, did you use instant movement/instant teleportation just now? Did you go to Yadrat?" "Yes, I came back from Yadrat," Gohan said. "Gohan, my Gohan," Chi-Chi rushed over. "Your hands, your tail, what happened?" Gohan smiled and hugged Chi-Chi. Now Gohan was carrying Goku on one hand and holding Chi-Chi in the other, looking like a happy family reunion. Gohan patted Chi-Chi on the back and said, "Let's not talk about this now. Mom and Grandpa Ox King, it's great to see you again. Don't worry, since you haven't been reincarnated yet, I will find a way to revive you." "Woohoo, Gohan." Okay, I have to deal with the Janemba. That guy has gone crazy now." Gohan turned his head to look in the direction of the Yama Palace, where the Janemba were bombarding wildly. Chi-Chi slowly let go of Gohan, and looked at him seriously, and said with tears in her eyes, "Gohan, don't act recklessly, you must come back." "Yes." Gohan nodded heavily. Goku, who could hardly open his eyes, said in a deep voice, "Gohan, Janemba are not easy to deal with. You have to be careful. If it doesn't work, just use instant movement and run away." Goku himself has never used instant teleportation to escape death, but now seeing his grown-up son, this sentence comes out of his mouth subconsciously. He always feels that he owes his son too much. "Yes, I understand," Gohan replied. "Gohan, leave Goku to us," the Ox King said. "Forget it. I am worried about letting you go now. Mom, Grandpa, hurry up and hold on to me. I will take you to a safe place first and then come back." Gohan frowned and said, Okay. Chi-Chi and Ox King obediently grabbed the corner of Gohan's clothes. Gohan put his index and middle fingers together and pointed them to his forehead like a sword. Sensing the breath of King Kai of the North, he teleported to the North King Kai's planet. After putting down Goku, he teleported away again. Several people stared blankly at the place where Gohan left. Goku murmured, "Gon has grown up and can protect us now." Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi looked at Goku, tears instantly blurred her eyes. Gohan has suffered too much these years. A lot of things happened. You used to have a lot of partners, but Gohan, he does everything alone, my heart hurts. Chi-Chi, I'm sorry. Chapter 52. Janemba sparkled, and then turned into colorful particles flying all over the sky and disappeared. To be honest, Gohan was very annoyed. This was the first time that Gohan encountered such an annoying opponent. Soon, Janemba condensed his body not far away, and Gohan noticed it. In the blink of an eye, energy bombs were thrown at Janemba like crazy. This time, Janemba had not been completely condensed, and it was hit into colorful particles and dissipated in the air. Suddenly, a circular wormhole opens behind Gohan, and one of Janemba's arms stretched out from it like lightning and grabbed Gohan's neck. Gohan sensed the danger and quickly dodged to the side. The arm that stretched out dozens of meters grabbed the ground. The ground cracked. In the time Gohan dodged, Janemba had already condensed his body again. And the two arms that stretched out continued to attack Gohan. Gohan was like dancing on Hanemba fingertips, dodging attacks again and again. On the North King Kai planet. After being given a bottle of red medicine by the North King Kai, Goku recovered some of his strength and energy. Now he put his hand on the North King Kai's shoulder and closed his eyes to watch the fight in the underworld. He sighed as he watched. Gohan is too strong. But why didn't he transform to a Super Saiyan? It's really strange, but even if it's the case, his current energy is not inferior to Janemba. Can Gohan be so strong without becoming a Super Saiyan? This is too amazing. Shishi on the side said, Gohan, is Gohan really that powerful now? Chi-Chi, come and see for yourself, it's really amazing. The Supreme Kai Realm. The two Supreme Kai, Kibito and Dend, gathered around a basketball-sized ball, also watching the fight in the underworld. The glass bead projected the scene of the battle between Janemba and Gohan. See? This is his power after I unlock his potential. Old Kai said proudly. Come on, Mr. Gohan. Supreme Kai clenched his fist and cheered from a distance. Come on, Gohan. Den was not to be outdone, Gohan is his best friend. Vegeta woke up in a daze. After being unconscious for a while, he felt better and his physical strength and energy were restored. When he woke up, he felt two extremely terrifying auras constantly colliding. Vegeta's pupils kept shrinking and he looked in the direction where Gohan and Janemba were fighting. Who is fighting with Janemba? His ki is just as strong as Janemba's. Ha! Why did that bastard Kakarot's energy disappear? Is he dead? Damn it! He had to go and see. Driven by curiosity, he slowly flew up and approached the place where Gohan and Janemba were fighting. Suddenly, whoosh! Two figures passed by him. It was Gohan and Janemba who were fighting. Vegeta was swayed by the strong wind and almost fell from the air. Damn it, who is it? This ki is so familiar, it seems to be the ki of science. No, it's impossible. Absolutely impossible. The only science left now are me, Kakarot, and Kakarot's bastard son, Gohan, and Trunks. Gohan? Gohan? Vegeta's eyes widened as he spoke. He finally remembered who this ki belonged to. Who else could it be but Kakarot's son? Has that little mushroom head grown up to this point now? When he saw androids 17 and 18 coming to hell, he knew that something big must have happened on Earth. It must be Gohan or Trunks who killed the androids. But even so, he never thought that Gohan's ki could be so strong. Vegeta's heart was shocked, as if a magnitude earthquake had occurred. Oh, and there is Trunks. Is Trunks here too? Vegeta tried to remember. Trunks seems to be 14 or 15 years old? He can't remember, he really can't remember. It turns out that so many years have passed without him noticing. On the other side, Gohan punched Janemba in the face. Janemba kicked Gohan in the stomach. Gohan whipped Janemba's eyes with his tail, causing blood to spurt out. The two had been fighting for more than half an hour with blood gushing out of their mouths. Soon, they appeared near the Yama Palace. At this moment, number 18 was riding on King Cold, punching King Cold in the face. Number 17 tore off Frisia's tail, and Frisia screamed. Bang! Gohan was kicked away by Janemba, and he crashed down into the middle of the four of them like a meteor. Janemba stood in the air with his hands folded across his chest, laughing hee hee hee. Gohan landed on the ground with a bang, and Frisia and others were directly knocked away by the aftermath. Ha ha ha, what a relief. Gohan stood up from the thick smoke, laughed loudly, then appeared right in front of Frisia and punched Frisia in the head with a straight punch. Frisia was stunned, his pupils dilated, and then he was punched in the head by Gohan. Whoosh! Gohan disappeared again, and when he reappeared, he stepped on King Cold and broke him into two pieces, and on the way, he fired another ki attack, and King Cold was instantly reduced to ashes. Son Gohan? Number 17 and number 18 were horrified and turned to run. However, they didn't fly far before they were blown into fireworks by two ki bombs thrown by Gohan. After doing all this, Gohan charged two huge energy waves with both hands, and then appeared behind Janemba in a flash. The energy waves were pushed out with a bang. Janemba turned into colorful particles again in the explosion. The people watching the battle in the Yama Palace couldn't help but be stunned. Goku on the North King Kai planet was also speechless. What is this? But the battle was far from over. Because Janemba came again. It laughed coldly and pounced on Gohan again. Its body flexibility reached an incredible level, and its whole body twisted into a ball and rolled over. Gohan was caught off guard and was knocked away. Fuck you. Gohan cursed, his figure flashed in the air, approaching Janemba, and the two of them fight again in a life and death struggle. Both of them had amazing recovery and self-healing abilities. They had been fighting for nearly an hour, and the battle was as intense as when they first started. The people watching were numb. But this time they gradually found something wrong. Because as time went on, Janemba's ki began to decrease. And Gohan's ki became more and more fierce. What is that? Krillin pointed to a spot high in the sky on the TV screen. Ha! Everyone noticed it too. Spirit bomb? It's a spirit bomb. Yamcha said with wide eyes. In the sky, a bright ball of energy was shining. No, this is not the spirit bomb. Tien Shinhan shook his head. The energy of the spirit bomb is pure and righteous, but this energy bomb is filled with evil energy. How could it be a spirit bomb? Ah, could it be that this is the work of Janemba? Krillin said in shock. Gohan, be careful. Several people couldn't help but worry about Gohan. Goku on the North Kai planet also discovered this. But his view was completely different from that of the people in the Yama Palace. This is not Spirit Bomb, this is Gohan releasing Janemba evil energy. He was able to separate the energy of Janemba, no wonder the energy of Janemba was reduced. Chapter 53. Janemba sparkled, and then turned into colorful particles flying all over the sky and disappeared. To be honest, Gohan was very annoyed. This was the first time that Gohan encountered such an annoying opponent. Soon, Janemba condensed his body not far away, and Gohan noticed it. In the blink of an eye, energy bombs were thrown at Janemba like crazy. This time, Janemba had not been completely condensed, and it was hit into colorful particles and dissipated in the air. Suddenly, a circular wormhole opened behind Gohan, and one of Janemba's arms stretched out from it like lightning and grabbed Gohan's neck. Gohan sensed the danger and quickly dodged to the side. The arm that stretched out dozens of meters grabbed the ground. The ground cracked. In the time Gohan dodged, Janemba had already condensed his body again. And the two arms that stretched out continued to attack Gohan. Gohan was like dancing on Janemba fingertips, dodging attacks again and again. On the North King Kai planet. After being given a bottle of red medicine by the North King Kai, Goku recovered some of his strength and energy. Now he put his hand on the North King Kai's shoulder and closed his eyes to watch the fight in the underworld. He sighed as he watched. Gohan is too strong. But why didn't he transform to a Super Saiyan? It's really strange, but even if it's the case, his current energy is not inferior to Janemba. Can Gohan be so strong without becoming a Super Saiyan? This is too amazing. Shishi on the side said, Gohan, is Gohan really that powerful now? Chi-Chi, come and see for yourself, it's really amazing. The Supreme Kai Realm. The two Supreme Kai, Kibito and Dend, gathered around a basketball-sized ball, also watching the fight in the underworld. The glass bead projected the scene of the battle between Janemba and Gohan. See? This is his power after I unlock his potential. Old Kai said proudly. Come on, Mr. Gohan. Supreme Kai clenched his fist and cheered from a distance. Come on, Gohan. Den was not to be outdone, Gohan is his best friend. Vegeta woke up in a daze. After being unconscious for a while, he felt better and his physical strength and energy were restored. When he woke up, he felt two extremely terrifying auras constantly colliding. Vegeta's pupils kept shrinking and he looked in the direction where Gohan and Janemba were fighting. Who is fighting with Janemba? His ki is just as strong as Janemba's. Huh? Why did that bastard Kakarot's energy disappear? Is he dead? Damn it! He had to go and see. Driven by curiosity, he slowly flew up and approached the place where Gohan and Janemba were fighting. Suddenly, whoosh! Two figures passed by him. It was Gohan and Janemba who were fighting. Vegeta was swayed by the strong wind and almost fell from the air. Damn it, who is it? This ki is so familiar, it seems to be the ki of science. No, it's impossible. Absolutely impossible. The only science left now are me, Kakarot, and Kakarot's bastard son, Gohan, and Trunks. Gohan? Gohan? Vegeta's eyes widened as he spoke. He finally remembered who this ki belonged to. Who else could it be but Kakarot's son? Has that little mushroom head grown up to this point now? When he saw androids 17 and 18 coming to hell, he knew that something big must have happened on Earth. It must be Gohan or Trunks who killed the androids. But even so, he never thought that Gohan's ki could be so strong. Vegeta's heart was shocked, as if a magnitude earthquake had occurred. Oh, and there is Trunks. Is Trunks here too? Vegeta tried to remember. Trunks seems to be 14 or 15 years old? He can't remember, he really can't remember. It turns out that so many years have passed without him noticing. On the other side, Gohan punched Janemba in the face. Janemba kicked Gohan in the stomach. Gohan whipped Janemba's eyes with his tail, causing blood to spurt out. The two had been fighting for more than half an hour with blood gushing out of their mouths. Soon, they appeared near the Yama Palace. At this moment, number 18 was riding on King Cold, punching King Cold in the face. Number 17 tore off Frisia's tail, and Frisia screamed. Bang! Gohan was kicked away by Janemba, and he crashed down into the middle of the four of them like a meteor. Janemba stood in the air with his hands folded across his chest, laughing hee hee hee. Gohan landed on the ground with a bang, and Frisia and others were directly knocked away by the aftermath. Ha ha ha, what a relief. Gohan stood up from the thick smoke, laughed loudly, then appeared right in front of Frisia and punched Frisia in the head with a straight punch. Frisia was stunned, his pupils dilated, and then he was punched in the head by Gohan. Whoosh! Gohan disappeared again, and when he reappeared, he stepped on King Cold and broke him into two pieces, and on the W. He fired another ki attack, and King Cold was instantly reduced to ashes. Son Gohan? Number 17 and number 18 were horrified and turned to run. However, they didn't fly far before they were blown into fireworks by two ki bombs thrown by Gohan. After doing all this, Gohan charged two huge energy waves with both hands, and then appeared behind Janemba in a flash. The energy waves were pushed out with a bang. Janemba turned into colorful particles again in the explosion. The people watching the battle in the Yama Palace couldn't help but be stunned. Goku on the North King Kai planet was also speechless. What is this? But the battle was far from over. Because Janemba came again. It laughed coldly and pounced on Gohan again. Its body flexibility reached an incredible level, and its whole body twisted into a ball and rolled over. Gohan was caught off guard and was knocked away. Fuck you. Gohan cursed, his figure flashed in the air, approaching Janemba, and the two of them fight again in a life and death struggle. Both of them had amazing recovery and self-healing abilities. They had been fighting for nearly an hour, and the battle was as intense as when they first started. The people watching were numb. But this time they gradually found something wrong. Because as time went on, Janemba's ki began to decrease. And Gohan's ki became more and more fierce. What is that? Krillin pointed to a spot high in the sky on the TV screen. Ha! Everyone noticed it too. Spirit bomb? It's a spirit bomb. Yamcha said with wide eyes. In the sky, a bright ball of energy was shining. No, this is not the spirit bomb. Tien Shinhan shook his head. The energy of the spirit bomb is pure and righteous, but this energy bomb is filled with evil energy. How could it be a spirit bomb? Ah, could it be that this is the work of Janemba? Krillin said in shock. Gohan, be careful. Several people couldn't help but worry about Gohan. Goku on the North Kai planet also discovered this. But his view was completely different from that of the people in the Yama Palace. This is not Spirit Bomb, this is Gohan releasing Janemba evil energy. He was able to separate the energy of Janemba, no wonder the energy of Janemba was reduced. The scene changed, and Gohan tore off the 2 arms of Janemba. Chapter 54. Gohan's hands burst into blazing flames, which burned the arms of Janemba. This time, Janemba was no longer as indifferent as before. His face became ferocious, revealing a painful expression. Gohan was secretly happy, and kicked out with lightning speed, hitting Janemba directly in the chest. Janemba's chest was directly dented by the kick, and a large amount of blood spurted out of his mouth. It stepped back, and Gohan rushed forward, punching Janemba like raindrops. The sound of bang 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 continued like thunder. The evil energy ball in the sky became bigger and bigger. Janemba retreated again and again, and the lost arm grew back. However, after all this, his ki dropped too much, and now he couldn't even use the ability to turn into colored particles and disappear. Janemba spurted out a mouthful of blood, almost splashing on Gohan. Gohan dodged to the side, quickly stretched out his left hand, and immediately grabbed its neck. Then he punched out with his right hand again and again, hitting Janemba's body up and down. The scene was bloody and brutal to the extreme. Vegeta shuddered as he watched the scene, recalling some not-so-good memories. Bang bang bang, they fought for 10 minutes. Go to hell! Gohan threw the limp Janemba into the air with his left hand, and used Kamehameha with his right hand. The extremely strong and thick energy column was like a blue and electric blue dragon, which instantly swallowed up Janemba. Ah! Janemba screamed, and his body quickly vaporized and dissipated, and finally disappeared completely into the air. Gohan exhaled, looked up at the shiny evil spirit bomb in the sky, clenched his right hand in the air, and then his 5 fingers suddenly contracted. Boom! The evil spirit bomb exploded and was purified. Crystal clear energy scattered all over the sky. The air in the whole underworld was refreshed and became cool. With the disappearance of Janemba, the barrier set up on the Yama Palace also collapsed. King Yama finally regained the power to control the underworld. He quickly operated. The undead spirits that had not escaped to the mortal world drifted away with the wind and returned to the underworld. The order of the underworld and the mortal world was re-established and became orderly again. But there are some exceptions. For example, Chi-Chi and the Ox King on the North Kai planet did not return to the underworld, and their physical bodies did not disappear, but there was a halo on their heads. Vegeta, who seriously doubted his life, also had a halo on his head, but his physical body was preserved. In the Yama Palace, King Yama smiled slightly, put away the seal, and sigh relief. Before the passage between Hell and the human world was closed, Piccolo, a full Namekian who successfully merged with the old Kami, also returned to the underworld. Gohan appeared in the main hall of Yama Palace in a flash. In front of him is the huge King Yama. Seeing Gohan, King Yama stood up with a smile on his face to greet him. His huge body was like a small mountain, but at this moment he looked amiable. Thank you, Gohan. Without your help, the underworld would be doomed and the mortal world would also face disaster. This is really a great achievement. Gohan, do you have any requests? Just ask. Gohan smiled and said, in this case, I will say it directly. Can this merit be counted toward my mother and grandfather this time? Can you just let them return to the world of the living? It is definitely not possible to bring them back to life directly, and I don't have the ability to do so. But please rest assured, I have already preserved the bodies for both of them. With the bodies, there is actually no difference between death and being alive. Well, thank you, King Yama. You're welcome. It's my duty. King Yama said with a smile. After the matter was settled, Gohan looked at King Yama with a more favorable attitude. This King Yama was not as rigid as he had imagined. He knew how to operate in advance before he had even given instructions. Gohan looked at King Yama again. Ahem. King Yama said again, by the way, Vegeta has made no contribution this time, but he has also worked hard. He delayed Janemba for a long time, and Trunks cleaned up a large number of escaped souls in the human world, so I also kept Vegeta's body. Oh. Gohan nodded. He didn't care about this at all. Whether Vegeta kept his physical body or not had nothing to do with him. Speaking of which, Vegeta had beaten him several times when he was young. But there was no need to beat him back. After all, he still had to consider the face of Aunt Bulma and Trunks. But since he had come to the underworld, he planned to meet Vegeta later. The purpose was very clear. Vegeta had a skill he wanted to learn, which was to create an artificial full moon. Gohan stared at King Yama and asked, "King Yama, can I come to the underworld in the future?" King Yama hurriedly said, "Yes, of course. It is an iron rule that the dead cannot go to the mortal world, but there is no clear rule on whether the living can come to the underworld. As long as Gohan is not afraid of being contaminated by the undead key of the underworld, he can come anytime." "Well, let's do this for now." Gohan nodded. Then he looked at his former companions who were standing not far away. Those faces looked familiar, yet a little strange. The former companions had excited expressions on their faces, but they also looked a little nervous. Gohan was a little confused. Excitement was understandable, but what did nervousness mean? Then, Gohan also saw the fortune-teller Baba. "Ha? Fortune-telling Baba? So you are really here?" Gohan asked in surprise. The fortune-telling Baba looked at Gohan and thought, "I don't know you." This sudden greeting caught her off guard. Yeah, what's up?" Baba asked. She knew that this is Goku's son, but she had never met him. Gohan said, "It's okay now. I went to your palace to look for you twice before, but I couldn't find you." Baba suddenly realized, "Oh, so that's how it is. The underworld is too busy. I was asked by King Yama and have been helping the underworld for several years. By the way, is Master Roshi dead?" he asked. After all, Baba is Master Roshi's sister, so no one knew Master Roshi's whereabouts better than her. "Roshi? No, that guy, Puar and Oolong hid in a submarine in the East Sea. I remember it like this, but that was several years ago. I don't know if he has moved to another place now." Gohan was silent again. He thought Master Roshi was dead. He didn't expect that he was in hiding? Doesn't he know that the android is dead? He hasn't shown up until now. But then again, Master Roshi doesn't seem to be able to sense ki. Thinking about it this way, it seems that there is no problem. What about Master Karen? Gohan asked again. He asked all the things he didn't know. A clear mind is good for the body. The fortune teller sighed and said, he died. It was all because of his greed. He wanted to eat fish that day, so he went to the human town and met the android. Android 18 was originally going to capture him as a pet, but he spoke human language and would rather die than obey, so he was killed by the android. Well, what an outrageous experience. Chapter 55. He hoped that Master Karen can reincarnate after death and awakens the blood of the god of destruction. Gohan secretly wishes, and then walks towards those uncle-like companions who he has not seen for more than 10 years. They all have the same halo on their heads. Gohan. Piccolo came over excitedly. He was the only one who didn't see the scene of Gohan fighting with Janemba. He felt the least pressure in his heart, and his face showed the most sincere thoughts. Uncle Piccolo. Gohan had a smile on his face. Piccolo walked up and looked at Gohan carefully, with a look of surprise on his face, saying, "Gohan, you have grown up and become stronger. Just now I could sense your powerful ki in the human world. Great, really great. Uncle Piccolo is much stronger than I remember." This is true. Now Piccolo gives Gohan the feeling that he can almost fight Bojack on equal terms. This shows that Piccolo is also practicing very hard after his death. To be honest, it's because I merged with Kami, Piccolo tells about how he lost to Bojack and his gang, and then escaped to merge with old Kami. Oh, so that's how it is. Gohan nodded, no wonder. By the way, Gohan, there was a big guy with red hair who helped me during the battle, but he didn't have any ki. Do you know this guy? Piccolo asked. The big guy with red hair? Of course I know him. It should be Android 16. I know he has good intentions, so I kept him here. I didn't expect him to help when the Earth was in danger. I was right about him. It was a little unexpected, but it made sense, because Android 16 was such a person. It's actually an android? No wonder it has no breath. Pico looked surprised. It's great to see you again, Uncle Piccolo. Gohan stretched out his hands and gave Piccolo a big hug. This sudden action made Piccolo embarrassed. Gohan, Piccolo felt a little uncomfortable. Gohan has really grown up. He never dared to do such bold actions before. Ha ha ha, Uncle Piccolo is still shy? Gohan let go of Piccolo and laughed. No, no way. Piccolo would never admit it, but the embarrassment on his face could not deceive anyone. Okay, then no, ha. Gohan smiled and walked towards Yamcha. He gave him a hug. Wow, Uncle Yamcha seems to have grown stronger. It seems that the food in the underworld is pretty good. Is that so? Yamcha scratched his hair. Of course, I also had the same scar on my face as Uncle Yamcha, which was really cool, but it was later healed by Shinran. Gohan let go of Yamcha and said with a little regret. Seeing Gohan's easygoing appearance, Yamcha secretly breathed a sigh of relief and laughed. This scar would only look cool on me. If it was on other, they would want to heal it. Oh, that's true. Gohan smiled and looked at Tien Shinhan. Tien Shinhan was always serious, but now that he saw Gohan, whom he hadn't seen for more than 10 years, he smiled as an exception. Gohan, you have become really strong now. Gohan also gave him a hug, then released him and said, Uncle Tien, I rarely see you smile. I thought you looked ugly when you smile, but I didn't expect that you look so handsome when you smile. Remember to smile more in the future. Oh, really? He. Tien was a little embarrassed by him. Of course. Gohan said affirmatively. Then he walked to Krillin, who was standing aside. Uncle Krillin. Gohan simply squatted down. There was nothing he could do, the height difference was too big. Krillin's eyes were red, and he wiped his tears. Gohan. Why are you crying? Uncle Krillin, I told you in advance that my sexual orientation is normal. Damn it, I'm so happy. Krillin couldn't cry anymore after hearing what he said, and punched Gohan in the chest. But he didn't really use much force. Uncle Krillin, I'm also very happy to see you. Gohan said with a smile. To be honest, among these uncles, besides Piccolo, Krillin is the one he is closest to. So of course he is really happy. Gohan, you must have had a hard time these years. Krillin wiped his eyes again. Gohan's face was full of smiles. It's not hard. You lied to me. How could it not be hard for a little kid like you to face the two android alone? Gohan, you lied to me, didn't you? Gohan. Hearing Krillin's words, the people behind him were also silent. Krillin, you are too emotional, and you are talking about things that are not related to the topic. The people next to him felt bitter. But they also knew that this was a problem that they could not escape from and they had to face it. Gohan was silent for a few seconds, then he sighed and said slowly, Yeah, how could it be easy? I thought you guys did not care about this thing. Gohan's tone was very calm. But the people who were listening behind him felt a chill on their backs. When they thought of the scene of him killing Janemba, they felt unwell. I'm sorry, Gohan, that's because King Yama and King Kai said that we are dead and can no longer interfere in anything in the world of the living, so... I'm really sorry. Krillin lowered his head, his face full of apology. Yes, Gohan, King Kai and King Yama both said that you can definitely handle it, and sure enough, you have done it now. Piccolo said. The others echoed at the same time. Gohan was silent for a few seconds, then said lightly, Uncle Piccolo, you are the smartest one among them. My father is a fool, so why are you following them without using your brain? Yes, you are dead and cannot interfere in anything in the world, but I beg you to use your brain, okay? That bastard North King Kai manages too many planets, and he barely pays attention to Earth for several years. Because, that guy actually races his car every day, am I right? Did you ever think of asking that King Kai of the North to tell me to go to New Namek to find the Dragon Balls to revive you? This doesn't count as interfering in the affairs of the living world, right? What? Did all of you and my dad lose your intelligence while you are here? How come all these people have become idiots? Several people looked at each other, and a storm was brewing in their hearts. Yes, why didn't they think of this? Is there some great cosmic force at work? Chapter 56. We didn't think of that, Krillin said nervously. Yes, we were also very anxious, but we didn't think to do this, Yamcha added, coming over and wanting to pat Gohan on the shoulder, but he didn't dare. Gohan, we were wrong, Piccolo admitted. Gohan stood up and glanced at everyone's faces one by one. Several people felt guilty, but this time they did not escape. They looked like they were ready to be scolded by Gohan. Gohan took a deep breath and said lightly, that's it. I scolded you too, so we're even. He turned and walked towards Kaiatsu. Kaiatsu was even shorter than Krillin, but he was always floating in the air, so Gohan didn't have to squat down. Kaiatsu, long time no see. It's been a long time, Gohan. Gohan, didn't you cut off your tail before? Kaiatsu turned his head and looked at the furry tail behind Gohan. It grew out again. I thought it looked pretty good, so I didn't cut it off. I think it's pretty cool too. Good vision, Gohan said, giving him a thumbs up. He turned to look at the former Z warriors and asked, are you guys working for King Yama now? Piccolo answered him, they are here to help because too many souls are coming into the underworld. I don't want to help, so I am a free man. Otherwise, I would have been trapped in this Yama palace just now. So that's how it is. Gohan nodded and continued, I want to ask all of you a question. If there is a way to bring you back, do you want to be resurrected? Krillin thought for a moment and said, I wanted it at the beginning, but I don't have that obsession anymore. It's the same everywhere anyway. Now I can live forever after death. You see, we are still the same as we were more than 10 years ago. But it depends on them. If they all revive, then I will revive too. Yamcha also said, I'm the same as Krillin, ha ha. Kaiatsu followed and said, I will follow Tien. Gohan looked at Tien. Tien said, if I can revive, then I will choose to revive. What about you, Uncle Piccolo? Piccolo was silent for a moment and then said, I want to be resurrected. There are many restrictions after death. I want to be resurrected. I have missed too much over these years, and I can't miss it again. Well, okay, Gohan nodded. In that case, it means everyone wants to be resurrected, so you just wait for my good news. I believe that day will not be too far away. Looking at the eagerly waiting King Yama and the army of souls that had once again formed countless long queues, Gohan said, then you guys go and do your work first. I still have someone to see. Okay, several people dispersed, leaving only Piccolo. Piccolo asked, Gohan, do you want to go find Vegeta? Yes, that's right, Gohan said with a smile, looking at Piccolo who only had 2 antennas on his head. Okay, go ahead, Piccolo said. Well, goodbye, Uncle Piccolo. Goodbye. Gohan sensed Vegeta's ki and teleported over with a whoosh. Vegeta flew aimlessly in the sky of Hell, becoming a walking corpse. At this time, Hell was empty. All the enemies who had been against him in the past were dead, leaving him with a feeling of loneliness and emptiness. How would he live in the future? Whoosh! Gohan's figure appeared out of thin air, right in front of him. Vegeta almost bumped into him. Who? Vegeta was caught off guard and jumped back several meters before he saw clearly that it was Gohan. Gohan, what are you doing here? Vegeta asked loudly. Gohan crossed his arms and looked at him. Hey, Uncle Vegeta, where does such hostility come from? What? Did I offend you? If you have something to say, just say it. Vegeta stared at him coldly. I'll give you face and call you uncle, but if I don't give you face, forget it. I want to learn how to make an artificial full moon, Gohan said. Vegeta turned his head to look at his tail and said proudly, why show? I teach you? Gohan's mouth twitched. He raised his hand and opened his palm towards Vegeta. The surging ki suddenly surged and soon gathered the power to destroy the world. If you don't teach me, you might die. Gohan narrowed his eyes and looked at him. Vegeta felt very complicated when he saw the ki coming towards his face. Thinking of the environment where Gohan grew up, well, his change of character makes sense. You are so good, Kakarot, for giving birth to such a godlike dog. Okay, I'll teach you, Vegeta said. Then I'll trouble you, Uncle Vegeta, Gohan said, taking back his hand, a smile on his face. The two flew and landed on a dark red land. Vegeta explained to Gohan the principle of the artificial full moon. The artificial full moon is actually very simple. Basically, every Saiyan who grew up on Vegeta planet can do it. This is not a secret. Its principle is also very simple. Through the fusion of one's own energy ball and oxygen, an artificial full moon similar to the moon is created. It can emit more than 1700 W of blue light waves, meeting the requirements for Saiyans to transform into great apes. Vegeta only explained it once, and Gohan had already mastered the essentials and successfully created an artificial full moon. At this moment, a shiny artificial full moon was hanging high in the sky of hell. Gohan looked up, and his heart pounded like a drum. Vegeta, who was standing aside, was almost scared to death. He was a person who was chased by Gohan when he turned into a great ape, and he knew that this kid would lose his mind after turning into a great ape. When he was about to slip away, he found that Gohan, who was about to transform, crushed the artificial full moon in the air. He interrupted his transformation. Well, now that he has regained his senses, Vegeta didn't know what to say. Gohan, who had returned to normal, turned his head and looked at Vegeta. Now that you have a physical body, Uncle Vegeta should also work hard to become stronger, at least to set an example for your son. Vegeta said, Humph, you don't need to tell me. Well, bye. Gohan smiled and disappeared in an instant, leaving Vegeta in a daze. After a while, he gritted his teeth. Damn Kakarot and his son. Then he turned around and flew away. He was going to practice. North King Kai planet. Gohan appeared out of thin air. He looked at Chi-Chi and Ox King who were sitting on the chairs panting, and thought that 10 times the gravity was indeed too much. Although Chi-Chi and Ox King were also martial artists, they were not able to move freely in a 10 times gravity environment. Seeing Gohan appear, Chi-Chi barely stood up, but it was difficult for her to walk over. Gohan, you're finally back. Well, I'm back, Mom, Gohan responded, walking towards her quickly and helping her sit down again. Sit down. Standing is too tiring. Well, okay, Chi-Chi sat down again. At this time, Goku ran out of the house. Wow, Gohan, you are so powerful now. How about we fight? Goku said, looking excited and eager. Oh, okay. Gohan looked at him and laughed. Chapter 57. At this time, the North King came out. Nu, if you want to fight, go somewhere else. Don't fight here, please. King Kai was really scared. If these two guys really fought on his planet, he might not even be able to live in his doghouse. Goku, your body has not recovered yet. You are not allowed to fight, Chi-Chi also strongly opposed, glaring. Hearing Chi-Chi's words, Goku immediately became timid. Okay. Then we will fight when I'm better. No problem, I want to fight with you too, Dad, Gohan said, ready to fight. That's great. When I recover from my injury, we can have a good fight. Okay. Chi-Chi and Ox King were speechless, watching the exchange between the father and son. How could the father and son want to fight each other? It can only be said that the Scion's brains are not normal at all, they are completely sick. At this time, King Kai of the North took out a sword and handed it to Gohan. He said, "Gohan, this is the sword that I promised to give you before." I begged another King Kai for a long time before he gave it to me. "Oh, thank you," Gohan said, looking uninterested. He took the sword and put it away in a storage capsule without even looking at it. The belated gift is cheaper than grass. Trunks' brave sword is much better than this one. Not to mention Gohan's Z-sword. Just keep it as a toy for now, maybe he can use it in the future. Seeing that Gohan seemed to look down on his gift, North King Kai hesitated to speak, feeling a little bitter in his heart. Goku next to him couldn't help but ask out of curiosity, "Gohan, can you become a Super Saiyan?" "Sure, why does Dad ask this?" "Because I saw that when you were fighting Janemba, you didn't become a Super Saiyan, but you still had very strong power." "Why is that?" "Oh, that's because my potential was fully unlocked by the old Supreme Kai, so I can burst out with great power even without becoming a Super Saiyan," Gohan said truthfully. "Old Supreme Kai? Is that a very powerful person?" Goku asked. "He is not a human, but a god. He's North King Kai's boss's boss." "Is that so, King Kai?" Goku looked at King Kai of the North and asked. King Kai of the North nodded hurriedly. He kept saying, yes, that's my boss's boss." I didn't expect Gohan to know Supreme Kai. "That's amazing." Gohan smiled and said, "It's all just a coincidence." King Kai of the North thought that the current Gohan was indeed extraordinary. He could actually know a figure like Supreme Kai. You know, even he hasn't seen what Supreme Kai looks like. Hearing King Kai of the North's affirmation, Goku's eyes lit up and said, "Wow, that's amazing. Does the Supreme Kai have any delicious food?" "Well, not really. When it comes to delicious food, it has to be on Earth. The food on Earth is the most delicious." "That's true. I also think the food on Earth is delicious. The food here, on King Kai's planet, is not that tasty." The corners of King Kai's mouth twitched. "What? You're complaining about eating and drinking for free? If it wasn't tasty, could I have eaten so much and become so fat? Really?" Goku continued, "Gohan, can you bring me some delicious food next time you go to Earth?" "Yes, no problem," Gohan agreed immediately. "I want to eat braised pork knuckle, toast, the big roast goose with sesame seeds, and the beef balls that are so bouncy and bursting when you bite them. Oh, and the sushi with seaweed is also very good. Dad, you don't know, there is a kind of roasted whole lamb now that is very good. The aroma can be smelled 10 kilometers away, it is so fragrant." "Really? I think you must be exaggerating." The father and son sat there with their arms around each other, and the topic changed to food, with drooling all over the floor. Chi-Chi, Ox King, and North King Kai could only listen eagerly and then kept swallowing their saliva. What they talked about seemed really delicious, they really wanted to eat it. After a while, Gohan, who was afraid that Goku would drool dry, sent Chi-Chi and Ox King to the underworld. Because the gravity environment of North King Kai's planet is 10 times that of Earth, it was really not suitable for the two of them to live there. In comparison, although the underworld was a little darker, the gravity was similar to that of Earth, and there were many friends there who could take care of them. It was a very good choice. Knowing that Chi-Chi and Ox King were going to live in the underworld, Lord Yama immediately arranged 2 spacious rooms in the Yama Palace, giving super VIP treatment. After everything was arranged, Gohan said hello to a few people and prepared to go to Earth. But there seemed to be an invisible barrier between the underworld and the mortal world. It was almost difficult for ordinary Ki to penetrate. Only a strong enough level like Janemba could penetrate this barrier and emit. However, there are no such restrictions between the human world and the divine world, or between the divine world and the underworld. So Gohan couldn't sense Trunks' ki in the underworld. He had to teleport to North Kai's planet first, and then sense Trunks' ki, so that he could teleport back to Earth. Unknowingly, North Kai's planet had become an indispensable and important transportation hub, an important transit station. Whoosh! Gohan appeared near Trunks. At this time, Trunks was sitting cross-legged on a flat grass meditating, and the brave sword was placed across his legs. He looked like a swordsman. Trunks, who was 16 years old, had purple hair and a handsome appearance, almost exactly the same as when he first appeared in the original work. Sensing Gohan's ki, he suddenly opened his eyes. "Brother Gohan, you are back." Trunks jumped up happily and threw the brave sword in his hand over his head. The brave sword seemed to have a spirit, turning twice in the air, and then inserted steadily into the scabbard behind him. "Awesome, Trunks," Gohan clapped his hands. Trunks was indeed much better than him in swordsmanship. This guy was like a natural swordsman, and he looked so strong when he wielded the sword. "Ha, it's nothing." Trunks scratched his hair a little embarrassedly. Gohan came over, looked at Trunks carefully, and suddenly exclaimed in surprise, "Trunks, did you break through?" Trunks happily reported the results of the battle to Gohan. "Yeah, brother Gohan, I just killed a lot of undead, and then I had a battle with that Bojack. In the process of fighting him, I broke through to Super Saiyan 2. Gohan smiled and patted his shoulder. "Not bad, Trunks. It seems that this Bojack is our lucky star. First, he let me break through to Super Saiyan 2, and now, he let you break through to Super Saiyan 2. If this is not a lucky star, what is it?" Okay, you have to thank him very much." "Did you thank him?" "I turned him into ashes with a ki blast," Trunks said. "Well, although he is dead, he will always live in our hearts, just in a different way of living. Brother Gohan, tell me about the battle in the underworld." "I want to hear." "Well, okay, let's talk while we fly." The two of them took off into the air and flew towards West City. Anyway, they were not in a hurry now, so it would be a special experience to fly slowly home and look at the scenery that was constantly receding under their feet. Gohan quickly finished telling the story of the battle with Janemba. Trunks hesitated for a moment, then asked, "Brother Gohan, did you meet my dad?" Chapter 58. "Yes, I did. Your father is still as proud as before." "Really? How strong is he?" Trunks asked curiously. The father he had never met occupied a very important place in his heart. Looking at Trunks, Gohan sighed and said, "Trunks, your father's strength has not improved over the years because he has no physical body. Now he is not as strong as you." "Oh, that's how it is." After hearing what Gohan said, Trunks' mood became a little lower. Gohan suddenly said, "Trunks, do you want to see your father? I can take you there." "Ah." Trunks looked up in surprise, his eyes a little flustered. "What's wrong? Don't you want to see him?" Gohan asked. No, I'm just a little nervous and not mentally prepared yet," Trunks said. "Tisk, look at you. What are you afraid of? Show the same courage you used to defeat the enemy with one sword." "Brother Gohan, I'll tell you when I want to see him." "Well, that's fine." During the conversation, the two of them descended from the sky and came to Trunks' home. Today, Capsule Corp has resumed operations and is thriving, with a tendency to return to its peak period. They were greeted along the way. After walking for a while, the two finally found Bulma, who was busy in the laboratory. "Mom, we are back," Trunks said. "And Bulma," Gohan also greeted. But Bulma didn't even raise her head and waved. "Sit over there first and don't bother me." The two brothers walked to the sofa and sat down silently, not daring to breathe. It was not until half an hour later that Bulma stretched and stood up. "I knew you two must be back. There were a lot of weird things reported on TV this morning, and then it was quiet again. I thought you must have dealt with it." "Was that you?" Bulma came over and sat on the sofa opposite them. "Yeah, I guess so," Gohan nodded. "I guess so? Is it different from what I guessed?" Bulma asked in surprise. Trunks said, "Because Gohan went to the underworld to help, most of the strange events on Earth were handled by me." "Gohan, you actually went to the underworld? How was it? Did you see them?" Bulma stood up excitedly. The them she was talking about was easy to understand. Of course, she was referring to Goku and others. I saw them. Gohan slowly spoke and told Bulma everything that happened in the underworld. After listening, Bulma was shocked. So many things actually happened. After she regained her composure, she looked at Trunks and said, "Speaking of which, Trunks seems to have grown taller and become a big boy." "Yes, Mom, I'm an adult now." Trunks patted his chest loudly. Gohan asked curiously, "Aunt Bulma, what were you busy with just now?" Bulma was obviously studying something, and it had reached a critical moment, otherwise, she wouldn't have made them wait so long. Bulma said, "I was debugging the time machine just now. Now the time machine has entered the final debugging stage. Combined with the development of energy batteries, it is expected to be completed within half a year." Gohan was surprised, so fast? It's actually 2 or 3 years faster than the original timeline. The progress is gratifying. Bulma put her hands on her hips and said proudly, "Don't you see who is studying this thing? It's a genius, Miss Bulma." Hee hee, of course, the information you brought back from Dr. Gero is also very important. But it makes sense if you think about it carefully. This world is different from the original timeline. Now that the androids have been eliminated, resources are abundant, and Bulma is no longer secretly researching alone. With the information brought back from Dr. Gero, it can actually be faster. But now Bulma is researching many things besides the time machine. The time machine, the new capsule, the Katchin steel, the blue wave launcher, these things together have filled her schedule. Aunt Bulma is awesome. Gohan gave Bulma a thumbs up. Ahem. Bulma coughed dryly, then sat back on the sofa, squinting her eyes and looking at Gohan and Trunks. Gohan and Trunks were frightened by her gaze. Mom, don't look at me like that. I'm a little scared." "It's like you're going to eat me," Trunks shuddered and said. "Brat," Bulma scolded him, then said, "You two will have great luck with women this year." What does that mean?" Gohan was confused. Bulma continued, "In the year you were away, 2 girls kept coming to inquire about you. They came every few days." "Wow, this is incredible." "Vidal? Is it Lily?" Gohan and Trunks asked almost at the same time. Bulma smiled and said, "Who else could it be if not them?" "I say, Gohan, it's time for you to get married and have a few more big fat boys to expand the Scion race. Now that the androids have been destroyed, it's time to make plans in this regard. Besides, you are not young anymore." "Aunt Bulma, I'm only 22 now," Gohan said helplessly. "Is 22 still young?" "I remember you were almost 23, and you still wanted to lie about your age." "You are already in your 30s, Gohan." "No, Aunt Bulma, how can 22 years old be considered as approaching 30? There must be something wrong with your math, right? You actually question a scientist's calculations? Don't be too outrageous." Ha 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 ha. Listening to the conversation between the two, Trunks on the side couldn't help but laugh. Trunks, and you, hurry up too. You are 14 years old, but including the 2 years in the hyperbolic time chamber, you are actually 16 years old. It's time to think about it. No. Trunks quickly covered his mouth. "Brother Gohan, what kind of gift do you think is good for a girl?" Trunks looked troubled. "You might as well ask your mother about this. I don't understand it either." "I can teach you how to practice, but I really can't teach you this," Gohan spread his hands and said helplessly. "Brother Gohan, I'm too embarrassed to ask my mother," Trunks said. Ha 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 ha. Gohan pointed at him and laughed. Trunks ignored Gohan's laughter and asked again. "Brother Gohan, you should also go see Sister Videl. She has come to see you so many times, you should also go to see her once. Have you thought about what gift to give her?" Well, how about a sword as a gift?" Gohan took out the sword that King Kai had given him. Trunks was silent for a few seconds. Then he looked disappointed and said, "Brother Gohan, I'm not saying anything bad about you, but how can you give a girl a sword? I think it would be better to give her food." "You sure?" Chapter 59. The discussion ended without a standard answer. Then, the two brothers separated. Gohan bought a lot of snack gift packs and stuffed them into the storage capsule. Trunks pondered for a long time and decided to go home and get the most beautiful jet capsule. East City Police Station. The activity room of the first team. The police officers were all out on missions, and only the captain, Videl, was left there. Videl sat on the chair, her chin supported by her hands, staring blankly at the ceiling, distracted. After a moment, she came back to her senses, then took the phone and typed a message to Bulma. "Aunt Bulma, is Gohan back yet?" Message sent. Half a minute, no reply. 1 minute, still no reply. 5 minutes later. Videl kept looking at her phone, then sighed and lifted her chin. She kept thinking about it. Isn't Gohan-kun coming back? It's been a long time. It feels like he has been away for several years. He wouldn't have forgotten me, right? Her mind was in a mess, so she didn't even notice that Gohan had been standing behind her for a while. Gohan reached out and patted her shoulder. Videl. Who? Videl was startled and hit her head on the table. Ouch, it hurts. She rubbed her forehead, turned around, and was ready to teach the guy who scared her a lesson. Then she saw Gohan standing behind her with a smile. Videl was stunned for a moment, then she screamed ah, and then her two big eyes widened. She stood up in a hurry, pulling at her clothes. Gee, Gohan-kun, when did you come back? Have you been standing here for a long time? She remembered that she had just sent a message to Bulma, and then she was in a daze. Could it be that Gohan saw it? Ah, how embarrassing. Videl's face couldn't help but turn red when she thought of this. No, I just got here. Huh, that's good. Videl secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Gohan took out the sword and storage capsule and placed them on the table. Well, I didn't know what you like, so I brought these for you. What's in this? Videl pointed at the storage capsule curiously. Oh, snacks. I didn't know what you like, so I bought a little of everything, Gohan said with a smile. Soon, Videl knew what Gohan meant by buying a little of everything. She opened the storage capsule and took out hundreds of snack gift packs, filling up more than half of the huge office. She stared at these snack gift packs in amazement, shocked. After a while, she said, Gohan-kun, I can't seem to eat so much by myself. Haha, if you can't finish it, you can share it with your colleagues. Gohan also scratched his head in embarrassment. Help, he would rather go and fight Janemba again. He was so embarrassed that he could almost dig out a 3-bedroom apartment under his feet. How can he talk about love as a single man for 2 lifetimes? In his memories of this life, he has always been studying, practicing, fighting, escaping, and killing enemies. He has no experience in getting along with girls at all. And in his memories of the previous life, he lived in an orphanage since he was a child. He finally finished college by working part-time, but he was sent away by Truck-kun as soon as he entered society. He also had 0 experience. Videl happily put away the pile of snacks and said with a smile, Gohan-kun, you don't have to give me any gifts. I am already very happy to see you. But I also have something for you. She took out the storage capsule she carried with her and handed it to Gohan. I bought you a few sets of clothes, but I couldn't find you, so I couldn't give them to you, and I don't know if you like them. Well. Gohan had mixed feelings when he received a gift from a girl for the first time. Well, I'll take it, thank you. Gohan didn't even know how he left the East City Police Station. He vaguely remembered that when they were parting, Videl confessed to him. Gohan-kun, I like you. Gohan's mind was filled with these words, and he was still confused until he left East City. Flying in the air, Gohan shook his head frantically, trying to get rid of these words. East Sea. After a while, Gohan flew to the East Sea. He remembered that the fortune teller had said that Master Roshi, Puar, and Oolong were hiding in a submarine in the East Sea. But in the vast East Sea, where can one find the submarine? Their key could not be sensed at all. The difficulty of searching was no different from finding a needle in a haystack. Gohan circled the East Sea several times, and then dived into the sea again. He did not find the submarine, but he found a heavy treasure chest. When he opened it, wow, my goodness, it was full of treasures. Gold, silver, and jewelry, everything. It seems that if he is short of money in the future, it would be a good choice to come and fish for treasure. After putting away the treasure chest, Gohan had no choice but to leave the East Sea. He went to East City again, packed several tables of food in a local restaurant, and then teleported to the North King Kai planet. Goku, who had been salivating for a long time, finished 2 packages by himself and ate until he was full. Gohan sent another package to the underworld, and Chi-Chi, Ox King, and others naturally couldn't be left behind. Then, he searched for a key on North King Kai's planet for a long time, and finally succeeded in finding Den's key, and moved to the Supreme Kai realm. Then, Goku locked onto Gohan's key and followed Gohan to the Supreme Kai realm. The father and son came to the Supreme Kai realm one after another, and the Supreme Kai and Kibito were shocked. After seeing that it was Gohan, the Supreme Kai breathed a sigh of relief, smiled and greeted, "Gohan is here, this is, Mr. Goku, right?" "Yes, it's my dad," Gohan nodded. Then he looked around and found that not far away, old Kai was giving a lecture to Den. Only Supreme Kai Shin and Kibito were watching ants. Supreme Kai Shin and Kibito looked at the halo on Goku's head and understood. "Hello, Mr. Goku, nice to meet you," Supreme Kai Shin extended his hand. "Ah, hello, are you the Supreme Kai? I've heard about you from Gohan. I'm Goku." Goku also extended his hand and shook it gently. "Yes, I am Supreme Kai Shin," Supreme Kai Shin nodded, with a smile on his face. "Ah, Supreme Kai, your planet is so big and the air is so fresh. It's more comfortable than Earth," Goku laughed. "Of course, this is the Supreme Kai realm after all. It cannot be compared to the mortal world," Supreme Kai Shin said with some pride. "By the way, Mr. Goku seems to be injured. Kibito, you come and treat him." Supreme Kai Shin turned around and said to Kibito. "Yes, Supreme Kai." Kibito nodded and stepped forward. "Wow, Supreme Kai is really amazing. He can tell that I have injuries," Goku said in surprise. "Well, of course, just don't move," Kibito said. "Oh, okay." Under Goku's curious eyes, Kibito stretched out a hand and pressed it on his chest, and a healing spell instantly released. Goku was enveloped by a ball of light, and he felt warm all over, very comfortable. Soon, the light faded away. Goku jumped up. "Wow, great, as light as a swallow. Gohan, let's fight. Everyone." Supreme Kai has a bad feeling. Chapter 60. Should I not have let Kibito treat him? At that moment, Supreme Kai felt as if he had done something wrong. "Ah, since Dad wants to fight so much, I have no choice but to accompany him," Gohan laughed. "Supreme Kai, please keep these things for me first," Gohan said, taking out a few capsules and handing them to Kai. There were a lot of food and new clothes in it, which couldn't be damaged. "Ah, okay." Supreme Kai Shin took Gohan's capsule reluctantly. Although he could create and repair planets, it was always a very troublesome thing. So he didn't want the two father and son to fight on his planet. But seeing how it was now, he couldn't stop them, so he could only pray that they would be a little gentler. Seeing King Kai's worry, Gohan said, "King Kai, please rest assured, we will control our strength." Supreme Kai Shin was relieved. Seeing that Gohan and Goku were about to fight, old Kai and Den simply stopped studying and came to watch. This kind of battle between strong men is rare. Gohan and Goku soared into the air and stood in the air 10 meters apart. Gohan looked at Goku and said, "Dad, I won't show mercy, so don't be careless." "Well, I won't show mercy either." Goku's eyes were burning with fighting spirit. The Scion's warlike genes were at work, and the blood flowing in his veins was already boiling. Boom! Goku turned into a Super Saiyan 2, his whole body burning with golden flames, and there were crackling lightning around him. Gohan grinned, and instantly turned into his ultimate state, and then disappeared in an instant. Goku was shocked and felt a strong danger signal coming from behind him. His hair stood on end, and he wanted to quickly dodge to the side. But it was too late. Gohan appeared behind him in an instant, and a heavy straight punch had already hit him hard. With a dull bang, Goku's figure was blown away like a cannonball, falling from the air at a high speed, and smashing into the hard ground with a bang. The ground of the Supreme Kai realm cracked, and a mountaintop collapsed directly. A huge mushroom cloud rose into the sky, and sand flew everywhere. The Supreme Kai's brows jumped. It's bad, it's getting worse. It exploded, and sparks flew everywhere. Gohan said that he would not show mercy, but in fact, he had already held back when he exerted his strength, otherwise, Goku would not be just injured. He said he would use all his strength, but he still dared to transform into Super Saiyan 2? How dare he? Gohan did not press on to win. This was not really a fight of life and death, but just a sparring exchange, and it was impossible to kill. What's more, on the other side is his father. He folded his arms across his chest, looking at Goku, who was floating in the sky, panting and a little embarrassed. "Dad, are you okay?" Gohan shouted. "Ah, it's okay, but you hit me really hard, Gohan." Goku laughed heartily, as if he was not the one injured. "Dad, we agreed to go all out, you will definitely suffer if you act like this." Gohan laughed. Goku clenched his fists, his eyes firm, and said loudly, "Well, I'll show you my Super Saiyan 3. Ha-iya." This time, Goku did not hesitate and began to transform. A long roar was heard, and the sky was filled with wind and clouds. With Goku as the center, circles of golden airwaves pushed in all directions. Lightning and thunder flashed in the sky. The sound of crackling and crackling was endless. It was also the first time that Gohan saw Goku transform into Super Saiyan 3 with his own eyes. He watched carefully. If it was any other opponent, he would definitely have taken the opportunity to attack him. Boom! A bolt of lightning struck from the sky. Gohan vaguely saw a shadow of a black great ape appear behind Goku. Then, Goku's hair began to grow longer. Soon, the golden eyebrows disappeared, and a fierce-looking Super Saiyan 3 with golden hair down to his waist appeared. The surging airwaves rolled up the wind and waves, and the clothes of several gods standing on the ground watching the battle were rustled by the strong wind. They put their hands in front of their foreheads and could hardly open their eyes. "Dad, this is amazing," Gohan said loudly, and the silver flame on his body also burned fiercely. "Haa." The two men rushed towards each other at the same time, both extending their right fists in the same posture, and the two fists suddenly collided. With a bang, Goku flew backward again, while Gohan did not move at all. However, this time Goku seemed to be much more relaxed. After flying backward, he started to counterattack again. He suddenly appeared with a teleportation and kicked Gohan in the air. Gohan had seen through his attack long ago and stretched out his right arm to block his thundering blow. He turned his body, stretched out his left arm instantly, and firmly grasped Goku's ankle with both arms. Ha 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 ha! Gohan waved his arms vigorously, and Goku spun wildly like a windmill. "Aw!" Goku screamed, feeling dizzy and numb all over. "Ha, take my move, Shockwave." Gohan laughed loudly, his hands emitted light, locked Goku so that he could not move, and then threw Goku from the air with force. Goku was like a burning meteor, whistling and crashing into the earth. With a boom, the ground shook. Two more mountain ranges broke apart, and the realm continued to shake, frightening the Kais on the ground. With a whoosh, Gohan disappeared. He appeared the next second, already standing in the air above where Goku fell. He put two fingers on his forehead, and a surge of air was burning all over his body. The flames on his body actually turned from silver to silver purple, burning the air and twisting it, and the void was about to crack. It was the special beam cannon. The strongest single-target attack skill. Its damage can completely cross the level of the battle. "Dad, do you still want to fight?" Gohan shouted loudly, his ki had reached its peak. The silver-purple flames kept burning. The surrounding space was constantly twisting. His fingertips had condensed the power to destroy the world. Goku crawled out of the crack in the earth with tattered clothes, and looked at Gohan in the sky with a depressed face. He was shocked to see that Gohan had already charged up the special beam cannon. He put his hands on his hips, pouted his lips, and said depressedly, "No more fighting, Gohan. You are too powerful now, I can't beat you at all. I will fight you after I practice." Hearing Goku say that he didn't want to fight anymore, Gohan immediately retracted the special beam cannon and his powerful ki. "Gohan, how did you learn Piccolo's move?" "I suffered a lot from it before," Goku said. I learned this secretly before." Gohan was very happy. That wraps up this part of What If Reborn is Gohan in Future Timeline. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.